Safety video for the table saw. Table saw is used to rip different boards to different lengths. So a table saw has a large diameter blade on it that is controlled the height by this knob on the front of the machine. So whenever we use a table saw, there's a few safety things to keep in mind. Number one, we never want to cut any sort of round stock with it. It's going to cause the round stock to move and slip and move out of our hands. So we don't do this unless we have some sort of jig set up. The other thing, when we adjust for our width of cut, which is always, we want the piece that we are going to keep to be on this side against the fence, we're always going to do this adjustment with the machine off. And then we can lock down our adjustments and turn the machine on. Switch is down on this lower part in the front here. We have the splitter and the anti-kickbacks and the guard. We always want to use this. The only possible time we would not use this is if it causes more of an issue and a hindrance than the actual safety that it provides. So the guard comes up, it locks, pull up a little, pull towards you, and bring this guard down. So the blade, we want to adjust this so it's approximately a 1/4 inch above our workpiece. We do not want it too high. The higher we have it, the more blade is exposed to us. Whenever we have a board that is relatively narrow, whenever it's less than an inch wide or even 6 inches, we want to use a push stick. Anytime that we're within this 6 inches, where it's a little tricky to get our hands through safely, we're going to use a push stick. Push sticks are located all over the shop. The push stick, if we have a thin piece like this, and the piece is actually wider than, the push stick is wider than the piece of wood that we're trying to cut, we cannot do that. We need to find an alternative way to cut that. We always want to stand on one side of the machine. We don't want to be standing across the center of the blade. What happens if something gets caught up in the blade and it comes back? We want to be out of the way of it. If we use the miter gauge on the table saw to cross cut a piece like this, we will never use the fence. Likewise, using the fence, we'll never have the cross-cut miter gauge here. What can happen is as we go like this, if something gets off a little, it's going to pinch the blade and it's going to cause a kickback. We do not want that. The edge that we put against the fence needs to be straight. Make sure it's nice and straight to run through. To get a better project, it's best to use the joiner to make sure we have a really nice edge on it. Resawing, which is cutting a piece of wood down the middle to produce two, we never do on the table saw. We do not resaw here. We can use the bandsaw if we want to resaw something. We always want to make sure our fingers, everything, is clear of the blade track. So down the middle of it, we want to make sure our hands are off to the side. Same thing that we've talked about in other machines. If something happens, we don't want to be able to slide into the table saw. Anytime that we need to clear a piece of wood away from this, shut the machine off, wait for it to stop. If we have somebody helping us, make sure the person over here is not pulling the material through. There's one operator, make sure they are the ones that are pushing the wood through the machine. If you cross-cut something several times to the same length, we can use this clearance block. We'll put that up here, or we might use a block set up here. What that would be is if we had a block right here, we would set that up so we have our length, and as we go, we go past that and we get to an area where there is nothing on the fence. Make sure that when you take a piece of wood that you are going to use on any machines, take a good look, make sure there is no metal. There's no staples, there's no embedded nails or anything like that. Metal is very hard on any of the blades in here. If there's anything else that you need with this, you think of a setup that would work, come talk to me. Let me know. I will take a look. We can figure out a better way to do it. Thank you.